sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Florida.
In Miami this afternoon, the sun is out, it's hot, it's humid. The roof is closed. Marlins Park is ready. The finale of a weekend series, and the Fish have a chance to sweep the Nationals. Christian Yelich Gold Glove Replica Day. Yelly is here, still on the DL. Giancarlo's hot. Dan Herron going for the Fish. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz on with Jeff Conine. In Major League Baseball, Jeff, if you want to make up ground or put some distance between you and another team, a sweep is something that is really nice. Miami was on the other end of it against the Mets. Here's a real opportunity against the Nationals.
Against the Nationals, who are the favorites in the National League East right now. Neither of these teams have really gotten off to a great start. The Marlins, though, a lot of games against the National League East coming up. A good time to get some distance in between them and the Nats.
Boy, the bats were loud yesterday in the win over the Nationals. 2 Marlins went deep. And I want you to break down their approach at the plate. Let's start with Giancarlo, who homered for the 5th time in 9 games.
Yeah, you look at his frame, 6'5", 250 pounds, got a wingspan of an albatross. Look at how far off the plate he stands and how deep his foot is on the back line of that batter's box. The extension he can get is unreal. This is a great at-bat, 10 pitches. He finally got one he could get extended on.
Now, Adeiny Echeverria may be the hottest hitter in the National League, but a different approach.
Different approach. You're going to see him much further up in the box, closer to the plate. He gets that front foot down very early. He's been working on that a lot with the hitting coaches. And look at this, boy. I love the fact that he's starting to pull the ball more and pull it with power.
So Stanton and Echeverria both in the lineup. Our pitching matchup, hey, we're going to wait for a pitcher to come on the show and break it down. Carl Pavano talks Dan Herron. Oh, yeah. The Hialeah kids going for the Nationals. Gio Gonzalez. Marlins and Nationals right around the corner. Ready for the fish. Gio Gonzalez on the other end of this pitching matchup. For that matchup, we go to our ace, Carl Pavano, with Craig Minervini.
Well, thank you very much, Rich. I'll take it as Herron at 6'5", 215. Carl, similar height at 6'5", 215. Talk about Dan Herron and what he's looking for against Washington, a team he played with. You don't think that's a factor in and of itself?
You know, I think it's a great thing that he got to watch two righties pitch against his lineup the last 2 days. And he's a guy that's going to, look, fastball's down, fastball's away. He cuts the ball, he sinks it, he moves the ball around. He knows a guy, he's trying to get guys off balance. He's at a time in his career where he's really pitching he has some of his best stuff, commanding the strike zone. And it's still early in the season, and it's sometimes veteran guys, as they get going, the tempo gets going, everything starts getting sharper. And I can see over his last couple starts, he's really getting comfortable. His velocity is more consistent. All his pitches are more consistent. And, this is a righty-dominant lineup. And righties are hitting like .94, .97 off him. So this is a good matchup for him.
Been bit by the home run ball a bit of late with 5 homers given up and 2 each in the last 2 starts. But he's back home. A little bigger boundaries here. See how that plays into this ball game as the Marlins go for their 5th straight win. They look for the sweep next against Washington.
By AutoNation. Save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit AutoNation.com. Bright and sunny, hot and humid. In Miami, the roof and the AC, nice to have, as Miami and Dan Herron look for a sweep of the Washington Nationals. Nationals and Marlins both at 7 and 11. Denard Span is back in. JM Lexus bringing you the starting lineup. Escobar at third. Jason Worth, good numbers lifetime against his former teammate Dan Herron. Bryce Harper in the cleanup spot. He's having a nice year. Ryan Zimmerman leads this club in RBIs. Ian Desmond offensively, and where he usually is, the Silver Slugger 3 times over. Wilson Ramos behind the plate. Danny Espinosa's out at second. And Gio Gonzalez, who has had Miami's number, gets the start for the Nationals. And for the Marlins, here's Dan Herron at 1-1 with a 3.32 ERA. Jeff Conine, the home runs have been a concern. 5 home runs, all of his runs on home runs.
Yeah, Dan Herron, he's not going to light up the radar gun like most pitchers do nowadays. We were talking about that yesterday, how most every arm out of a bullpen is 95 plus. Dan Herron's going to sit around 87 to 90 maybe. And when that misses over the middle of the plate, the guy's going to be able to hit that a long way.
Here's Miami defensively, and it's brought to you by BMW.
We got Ichiro Suzuki, the new all-time Japanese leader in runs scored. Marcelo Zuna in center, Stanton in right. Prado, Echeverria, Gordon, Mike Morse gets the start at first base today. And the aforementioned Dan Herron on the mound, throwing to JT Realmuto. But Martin Prado is 1,000th Major League Baseball game.
How about that? Ichiro's out in left. He's played well in the absence of Christian Yelich. Dan Herron to the plate, and his first pitch is a strike. Pitch Penny bringing you the first pitch. And before we go any further, I'd like to wish my partner Tommy Hutton a speedy recovery. Hutt under the weather this weekend. We've had pinch hitters. Jeff Conine here today, and hopefully Tommy will be back soon.
I hope he's practicing his broadcaster voice there at home while in bed.
That's right. You got to keep that intact.
Absolutely.
Denard Span had the day off yesterday. Span, and you look at Mike Redmond. The Marlins an opportunity to sweep here. Span, a guy that had a couple of spring training injuries. Sports hernia in the offseason, then a core injury. And after surgery and a short spring training, Span, who was a key member last year for the Nationals, had a really nice year. Hit .302, .355 on base, 39 doubles last year, swiped 31 bags. Overshadowed, I think, by some of the big names, but he was a key component in that first place team that won 96 games last year. Herron goes 2-2 on Span, a former Twin.
We spoke yesterday about the importance of Tom Kohler and his location. Dan Herron is a location master. He pinpoints that 86 to 87 mile an hour fastball. He's got a very deceptive motion, so I think when you look at hitters swing at that pitch, it looks like they're swinging at a much harder fastball.
3-2 coming to Span. In the air, shallow center. Ozuna's out there, and he makes a running catch. Well, Miami has won 4 straight. Obviously, the big highlights from yesterday: Giancarlo Stanton, Adeiny Echeverria. But there's no real secret to the success. The Marlins ERA in those 4 games, 1.00. So it starts with a starting pitcher. Nice to see the bats alive. Echeverria is as hot as they get right now in the National League, and Stanton has blasted home runs. But Tom Kohler yesterday was outstanding. 7 1/3 shutout innings to open the ball game, and for Kohler, a nice bounce back after his loss in New York to Matt Harvey and the Mets.
Pitched out of a couple tight situations yesterday. You see only the 1 walk, which is great for Tom Kohler when he's in the strike zone. We mentioned a number of times how good his control was yesterday and hitting his spots, and that's the key for him.
Yunel Escobar lifts one into the seats, into a nice Sunday crowd here in Miami.
We talk about location, location, location. This is going to be a common theme today with Fox Tracks and Dan Herron. It's going to be on the corners. He seldom misses over the white part of the plate.
0-2. Escobar fouls it off of JT Realmuto. There it is. Not darts he's throwing.
I wonder if Dan Herron's any good at darts. I got to ask him that question.
Wouldn't be surprised. Aaron looking for win number 2. He misses away. He's had 10 consecutive years of 10 or more wins, and he's done it amazingly with 5 different teams: Cardinals, the Athletics, the Diamondbacks, these Nationals, and last year with the Dodgers. It's fouled back to the screen. He's 34. He's one of those guys, in similar tale to yours. You were a pitcher that went to UCLA, didn't have a great college career. Kansas City Royals decided to take a flyer on you as a position player, and it worked out quite well. Herron went to Pepperdine, and he was a hitter and really wasn't a pitcher, but had done some pitching. They needed an arm, and the more he pitched, the more people liked him. He was a second-round pick of the Cardinals. He's gone full now on both hitters. It's 3-2 to Escobar.
And lo and behold, 10 consecutive seasons with 10 or more wins now for Dan Haren.
And it turned out all right for you, and it turned out all right for him. Echeverria on to first in time. So 2 outs. Here comes Jason Worth. Carl Pavano talking about location, you echoing that, and there's your Fox Tracks, his work on Yunel Escobar.
Yeah, and those pitches are, you see number 8, the final pitch of the at bat is right there in the corner, just like just about every other pitch. He's going to add and subtract off of his fastball. He's going to cut the ball. We saw first hitter Span, a little cutter that got him to pop out to center field. This is what makes Dan Haren so tough, is that you never know what kind of pitch is coming next.
Jason Worth now, Worth a couple of hits in this series. Worth another guy that didn't have much of a spring training, and it has kind of shown in his numbers the first 3 weeks. That shoulder repair, the AC joint. And of course at 36, it's a little tougher bouncing back from that. He's got a 2-0 pitch to look at here.
You ever see that cutter, 2-0 cutter? Just a little bit, it's not quite a slider, but he puts a little extra movement on it, so a guy's not really sitting on his fastball.
Of course, the irony for Haren is that many questioned whether he would ever put on a Marlins uniform after the trade with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but Haren maintained and was in communication with the Marlins over the winter and indicated, hey, I'm coming and I want to pitch. Liner to left. Ichiro is there, and he makes the catch. Worth hit it on the button. Haren has a 1-2-3 inning, and here come the Marlins to hit. On a Sunday, a lot of kids at the ballpark today. Looks like Dad got the big iPhone there, checking out the scores. JM Lexus brings you Miami's lineup. D. Gordon tied for the National League lead in hits. Martin Prado's had a nice series. Obviously, Giancarlo Stanton was dynamite yesterday. Marcell Ozuna's bat has come to life. Michael Morse had a day off yesterday. JT Real Muto's been solid behind the plate. Ichiro is in left field. Adeiny Echeverria, look at the 8-game streak, and Dan Haren, who can swing it, is in the 9 spot. And this is a Marlin killer, Gio Gonzalez. He's won 5 consecutive starts against the Fish, 6-2 lifetime. You see that ERA on the bottom there, 1.67. Out of Hialeah, Monsignor Pace High School, and so always special when he gets to come home He misses to D. Gordon with Martin Prado and Giancarlo Stanton to follow.
Gotten to know Gio a little bit. He's played in my golf tournament this year, and just a genuinely a great, I got to call him a kid because I'm old, but a great kid, and very enthusiastic about this game of baseball. And tell you what, when he gets out there in between those lines, you love to see him every fifth day if he's on your team.
He's one of the players that you really love to talk to. These two guys were teammates in the same rotation a couple years back. And D. Gordon just keeps hitting. My goodness. 29 hits, best in the National League. Matt Kemp, Adrian Gonzalez, and Angel Pagan are at 27. Gordon is at first. Here come the Nationals defensively. It's brought to you by BMW.
Little defense here. Jason Worth, Denard Span, and Bryce Harper in the outfield. Escobar, Desmond, Espinoza. There's that stash I was telling you about. Zimmerman at first. Gio Gonzalez and Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
I still think that
is not photoshopped. I'm telling you.
I think that's a prop. Here is Prado now. This is a nice combination with Gordon at first, Prado at the plate. Gio Gonzalez, fastball, ground ball, just wide of first. Ryan Zimmerman over holding the runner.
Hey, if Espinoza had my little bandana on that I had at the Floyd's bowling tournament, you see Martin Prado is just a master of trying to hit that hole. He knows the first baseman's going to be covering the line basically because he's holding on D. Gordon, but look at the space between the second baseman and him. He's trying to hit that hole for a base hit to right field.
Gordon caught stealing in this series. He's been caught 5 times. Prado, a 4-game hit streak. Gordon bluffs, pitches a called strike, and I think Prado thought he was on the move. Gabe Morales is the home plate umpire. You really have to, in this spot, in a 2-hole behind a base stealer, be a very unselfish hitter.
Yeah, very much so. And you got to be a confident hitter as well, knowing that I'm going to take some pitches to allow him
Escobar
to steal the base.
Nice play across the diamond. Gordon gets to second. That's maybe a run-saving play with Gordon at first by Yunel Escobar. Here is Stanton now.
Prado's the type of hitter that can shoot that hole over there at between first and second, but also you see there he's got the ability to turn on it and almost had a run-scoring double.
Giancarlo Stanton yesterday had quite a day. I don't think anything left his bat that wasn't over 100 miles an hour. This was the home run on a breaking ball. He had had a couple of laser beam hits before then.
Yeah, maybe the hardest ball he hit all day was the double that he hit to left field. Was an absolute rocket.
As you would expect, with all the success Gio Gonzalez has had, there are some Marlin hitters that have not had good numbers against him. And Stanton is one of those. Just 2 for 13 with 4 strikeouts and a couple of walks.
Well, Giancarlo, his at bat last night where he hit the home run might have been one of the best at bats he's had all year. He fought off, it was a 10-pitch at bat. He fought off some really tough pitches, some tough sliders, fouling them off just to get one that he could handle, and he ended up hitting a slider about 450 feet, almost to the Budweiser bar.
Gio Gonzalez, a good breaking ball down in under the hands. RBI leaders. Adrian Gonzalez having such a great start with the Dodgers. Stanton right behind him, Paul Goldschmidt. D. Gordon at second. There's 1 out.
It's interesting when you talk about the Marlins' slow start and their offensive woes, so to speak. A lot was talked about how they're really struggling to score runs. Well, right now they're 5th in average in the National League and 4th in runs scored.
Trying to get on the board first here against Gio Gonzalez and the Nationals. Fastball up. In watching Stanton's at bats over the last week, One of the things he's eliminated from his diet, so to speak, is swinging at that pitch inside that's 3-4 inches inside, and that's a pitch that he was swinging at for the first 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah, he stands, when you look at his setup, he stands so far off the plate that an inside fastball almost looks like a strike, even though it might be 4 inches in off the plate. When he gets that down, that space recognition to get that on the corner instead of swinging that pitch in, like you said, look out.
That right side is wide open right now. In the dirt. Ramos, who is a very good defensive catcher, has been blocking balls this entire series quite well. It was not an easy ride for him yesterday with Steven Strasburg.
Yeah, you mentioned he picked some balls, fastballs that hit the dirt. He picked a bunch of them that probably saved a couple runs.
And Gio changes speeds and gets Stanton. Big strikeout for Gio Gonzalez. Gordon is still at second, and there's 2 outs.
Good changeup down and away after throwing fastballs in. Great arm action right there. Basically, as a hitter, you're swinging at that arm action. If you look at Fox Tracks, he basically only threw 1 strike that at bat.
He was outstanding in his last start. Didn't give up a run in 6 innings against the Cardinals. He threw 107 pitches. Now Ozuna. Gio misses out. Same pitch that he just struck Stanton out on. Ozuna, a nice 7-game hit streak. Hitting .423 in that span, and he's pumped his average and his slugging percentage up after a slow start. And Gonzalez right now staying away and away from Ozuna.
Gio Gonzalez, since joining the Nats in 2012, is 43-27 with a 3.26, and the Nats in those games that he starts are 61-33. Almost a 65% winning percentage when he's on the mound.
That's impressive, and certainly he's been part of a great rotation, which got even better this year with the addition of Max Scherzer.
If you think about it, he's pretty much under the radar. He's not even really spoken much of anymore with the additions of Scherzer and Strasburg, of course, Zimmerman.
Broken bat. And Ozuna will get some new lumber. Of course, you got Doug Fister in that rotation as well. The Marlins will not see Scherzer or Fister, but they've seen 3 quality arms in these 3 ball games. Jordan Zimmerman on Friday, and he looked like his old self. Steven Strasburg. Marlins beat him yesterday, and now they get Gio Gonzalez. Look at Strasburg. We trotted out Gonzalez's career numbers against the Marlins. Impressive. Big lead by Gordon. 2-2s outside, and it's 3-2.
It's interesting, as good as Steven Strasburg is, he is not very good in this building. Had over 5.5 ERA coming into yesterday's game.
Michael Morse on deck. And he got him. Same pitch he got Stanton on. That changeup that floated in at 84 miles an hour. Gio Gonzalez escapes the first. Gordon left at second. And we're underway in Miami. Scoreless. from the left field line here at Marlins Park. Nationals and Marlins. Nice Sunday crowd. Christian Yelich replica Gold Gloves given out. And a lot of kids, as we noted. Bryce Harper, Ryan Zimmerman, Ian Desmond. It's a very thick Washington Nationals lineup with guys that can hurt you. And facial hair as well. The thickest being Jason Worth. Harper working on one as well. And Herron floats one in at 81 miles an hour and gets a strike. It's 0-2.
Bryce Harper didn't particularly care for that call.
Pitch is up. You can look at Harper's batting average and say, well, he's hitting 271. He's off to a so-so start. But you got to look at all the peripherals. His walk rate is way up from last year. Last year he walked 9% of the time. He's walked 22% of the time this year. There are your walk leaders. Jock Peterson of the Dodgers, the rookie outfielder, 15. Slugging percentage just under 500, and he drills this one to right field. It's deep. Stanton at the wall, and it's gone. Every run that Dan Herron has given up so far this year has been a home run, and this a solo shot. And the Nationals take a 1-0 lead, and it's Harper blasting his 5th of the season.
See, here's that split-fingered fastball. His changeup basically got it elevated just a bit. Bryce Harper's got some amazing hands. He doesn't have that prototypical body type swing. He's got a very handsy swing, but he got out there and hooked it.
Ryan Zimmerman now. It's amazing. 6 home runs that Herron has given up.
I'll tell you, the way he took a swing at that pitch, almost looked like he was sitting on a changeup.
Dan Herron's given up 8 total runs and 6 home runs. A couple of 2-run shots when he faced the Phillies, Freddie Galvis and Ryan Howard. Everything else has been a solo shot. Zimmerman stays alive, sends it into the seats. Zimmerman, the face of the Nationals franchise, didn't spend a lot of time in the minor leagues, out of the University of Virginia. Morse back on his feet, steps on the bag. Nice play by Michael Morse, former shortstop at Nova High School. Fort Lauderdale makes a nice play. Chevron Crazy 8s is coming up on Wednesday. It's Marlins and Mets. It's at 7:10. If you bring your Chevron receipt of 8 gallons of gas or more to Marlins Park, you get your choice of an $18 Lexus Legends level ticket or a $28 home plate box ticket. Mets and Marlins tomorrow. Here's Ian Desmond from Miami. That opens up a 3-game series. So that Wednesday is the conclusion. Jared Kozar, Dylan G tomorrow night. And that Wednesday game, if you're into Crazy 8s, you get Bartolo Colon and Matt Latos. Colon has been dynamite this year. He's 4-0 with a 2.77 ERA. Latos much better in his last start. 6 1/3. And he gave up 2 runs, giving the Marlins an opportunity to win Friday night's game against the Nationals 3-2. Dan Herron strikes out Ian Desmond.
Very interesting to look at Dan Herron's setup on the mound. His foot is almost completely off the rubber. You see his toe is basically covered on the rubber there, and they have to be in contact with that at some point during their setup before they deliver the baseball. So I think Dan Herron is
really focused on that left side of the plate. He'll come into lefties, and he loves to face or throw righties away.
Pitching coaches and pitchers will call that the glove side, being able to pitch to the glove side.
But that's the furthest off the rubber I think I've seen any pitcher.
Sharp ground ball, Prado to his left, spinning and throwing in time, and the inning is over. But Bryce Harper manhandles an off-speed pitch, and it's 1-0 Washington. For exclusive behind the scenes Marlins coverage straight from your favorite Fox Sports Florida telecast. Budweiser bar, Giancarlo Stanton's ball hit between that 32 and the 42 there, right on that Budweiser balcony. It was a high blast. If you look hard enough, you can see the indent there. There's Morse. He takes down low. Michael Morse, JT Realmuto, and Ichiro trying to solve Gio Gonzalez. Gonzalez pitched around a leadoff hit by D. Gordon in the first. And Morse, a day off yesterday. Justin Bour made a real impact with 2 RBI hits, getting the start at first. Always fun to see local kids get to the big leagues, and you've got 2 of them right here. Bour watching with the lefty on the mound. Morse fouls it back. As a hitter, what's your scouting report on Gio Gonzalez?
Well, as we've seen, he's got pretty much long arm delivery. He varies his curveballs, but I think his #1 pitch is that changeup we saw in the first inning. Strikeout changeups down and away to both Giancarlo Stanton and Marcell Ozuna, and that's a pitch he's got ultimate confidence in because he throws it 3-2. He'll throw it on fastball counts, and that really is an equalizer with a lower 90s fastball.
3-2 coming.
There it is again.
And Morse can't lay off. He swings and misses. So 3 consecutive strikeouts. Stanton, Ozuna, and Morse right through the heart of the order cuts Gio Gonzalez. JT Realmuto now. Day in baseball just getting started on the East Coast. Braves and Phillies are underway. Those two have split the first 2 of their 3-game series up in Philadelphia. Mets got a win last night. Matt Harvey against the Yankees. And those two played tonight. Real Muto off the end of the bat. Espinosa gets the out. So with 2 outs, here is Ichiro and here's Craig Minervini.
Rich, a picture of Ichiro's on many of the Japanese sports dailies today. It's a huge story there. He was honored here at Marlins Park yesterday with a wonderful little tip of the cap to the crowd as he achieved some baseball history for a Japanese baseball player. After the game, the Marlins took out home plate and presented it to Ichiro. And today he took a picture with his teammates, tweeted by Henderson Alvarez. Why? Because when he hit home plate in the ball game yesterday, it was the 1,968th time he has scored a run as a pro, and that broke the record for a Japanese player originally held by the great Sadaharu Oh, who scored 1,967 times. So big deal. Oh and Ichiro are friends, and as Ichiro said, the reason it is a big deal is because it was Mr. O's record. They go to dinner once every year, guys.
That's a great shot in the Marlins clubhouse last night. And it's a good illustration of how the ball club, a relatively young ball club, has embraced this 41-year-old and how Ichiro has fit in and embraced them. Gonzalez breaking ball in the dirt. It's 2-2.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of that clubhouse. Everyone gets along great with him. He's a very funny guy. But the respect they have for him, guys after that shot was taken were taking pictures, individual pictures with him, knowing that they're playing with a Hall of Famer, and they really respect what he's done in this game.
Ichiro takes outside. Ichiro has faced Gio Gonzalez. They matched up when Gio was an Oakland Athletic, and obviously Ichiro a Seattle Mariner. And he had some success against him. 11 for 33. 3-2. Ichiro a high chopper at short, picked by Desmond. Got him. That's a terrific play by Ian Desmond. Not an easy one. He had to straighten up and make a strong throw to get Ichiro. Still can run at 41. Quick look at the replay, and the call was on the mark. 1-0 Nationals. Except in Marlins Park, very comfortable in the AC with the roof closed. Dan Herron battling Gio Gonzalez. A Bryce Harper home run standing up right now. Ah, yes, the Cleveland. Wonder if anyone's in the pool right now. Danny Espinosa, first pitch swinging. He fouls it off.
Very nice crowd today here on a Sunday.
Here's the 0-1. Espinosa sends that one into the seats. We need to get to Espinosa and ask him if he came to media day with this, just for that. I mean, he has the look on his face like, yeah, I got a big mustache, but I'm going to shave it off for the first day of spring training.
I think he showed up during a spring training game when the Nationals walked in. They had quite a parade of beards and mustaches going during spring training. But you almost did a double take when he was coming out of that clubhouse.
The Nationals have been going with the combination. Worth certainly is the leader in the clubhouse. As we noted, anytime you can come to the plate with Game of Thrones playing as your walk-up song, that's respect.
I just think it'd be hot when you're in the middle of summer and got all that hair everywhere. That would drive me crazy.
The last 4 or 5 years in baseball, beards have kind of become the thing, especially with a lot of bullpens across baseball. Ichiro wanders over and makes the catch. Espinosa hit it on the nose. 1 out in the 3rd. T-Mobile game changer. Tom Kohler yesterday beat the Nationals 7 1/3. It's his 4th longest start of his career. He had a run of 10 in a row, retired. Just 90 pitches and very efficient 60 strikes. Here's Gio, and he takes a strike.
Marlins starters over the last 4 games have only given up 4 runs and gone deep into games, which has given that bullpen some rest. Middle part of this young season, starters were not going very deep, taxing that bullpen. A lot of innings and pitches were being thrown.
Pulled to Prado, and there are 2 outs here in the 3rd. So 2 outs. Copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Here's Denard Span, top of the order for the Nationals. So first time through, 1 hit, 1 run, and the oddity continues for Dan Herron. It was a home run.
The dreaded long ball.
He's given up 8 runs this year. This is his 4th start, and they've all come on homers. 6 of them.
I think he wouldn't mind if the rest of the year he gives up just solo home runs.
Hey, that's manageable.
I think he is the type of pitcher that when he gets guys on base, he becomes stingier with that control that he has and won't make too many mistakes that'll allow a guy to hit a multiple run home run.
Span flied to center back in the 1st. Ichiro makes a catch. A 1-2-3 3rd for Dan Herron. 1-0 Washington. we expect? There is some activity out there. Got the lifeguard sitting in there as well. Camera 12 for the kids. An Outback Heroes Monday as the Marlins and the Mets will meet. 7:10 start. All you can eat seats. And of course, if you're military, a veteran, or first responder, you get a free ticket with a valid ID. For more information, go to Marlins.com. Mets and Marlins. All you can eat seats are in play. 3-game series starts tomorrow. Mets and Marlins 7:10. Denny Echeverria, then Dan Herron, and D. Gordon against Gio Gonzalez, who is baffled. Gave up just a D. Gordon single. Has 3 strikeouts. Hasn't walked anybody. Ball and a strike to Echeverria. 8 straight games for Echeverria. .452 average. He was 1 for 22 on the opening homestand. I mean, that is the very basement in the National League hitting charts. And I know this is game number, 19. So there's a long way to go. The work that Frank Menachino and the rest of the Marlins staff have put in, and Echeverria himself, pretty impressive.
I think early on he was a little tentative, and he was so focused on that right center field area, and you know, his swing is kind of grooved to that part of the field. But in this hitting streak, man, he's been turning on the ball. We saw last night that home run was an inside pitch. We saw the night before it was an elevated fastball that he got on top of and hit a double off the wall in left center. I love to see him being aggressive like that and being able to turn on the ball and pull it. That just opens up a lot more of the field for him.
Little tapper up the line. Gonzalez, a little backhand flip in time to get Echeverria. Shows you the athleticism of Gio Gonzalez. Off the mound quickly.
It's like Roberto Alomar turning a double play. Second base with that backhand flip. Gets over.
No wasted motion. Gio catching his breath behind the mound. I don't know if he's out of breath from that play or just trying to collect himself. Here's Herron now. Herron takes a strike. Dan Herron, as we've noted in previous starts, very good hitter for a pitcher. Anytime you're over 200 as a pitcher, that's saying something, and he's been in the game for a while. But he has yet to get a hit this year as a Marlin. He's 0 for 7 with 1 strikeout.
Over 200 for a pitcher that's played as long as he has. He's had a lot of at bats.
Now, what was your batting average at UCLA? Because you were solely a pitcher at UCLA.
Let me think. Oh, I didn't have one. I didn't hit in college.
No ABs?
I had one.
That's strike 3 called. Herron.
Dan Herron's going to want that one himself. Well, he got it as a strike.
It is a strike. So 4 strikeouts first time through for Gonzalez. Cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Lights. Hialeah born big leaguers. Alex Avila. Bobby Estelea. Nick Isaski on that list.
Outside.
1-0. D. Gordon punched one through the left side for a hit back in the first. That's the only hit the Marlins have, and Gordon sends that one down the line. It's peeling into the corner, and it's fouled.
You look at what Gordon's done at Marlins Park this year. 14 for 35, a 400 clip. If you go back to last year. I don't know if you remember that series he had when he was here with the Dodgers. We couldn't get him out. 460 career at Marlins Park.
A bunt and a good one. Escobar has to eat it. What a weapon. What a weapon. Two more hits for D. Gordon. 30 on the season.
This is textbook. I know Bugsy's got a big smile over there at third base, but absolutely textbook. He lays it down. He doesn't have to be too perfect because he can run so fast. Just get it on the grass away from the pitcher, and he'll beat that out every single time.
Martin Prado now, and with 2 outs, you would expect Gordon to be a little more aggressive trying to get to second. Gio Gonzalez knows that. Prado hit a scorcher down the third baseline. Yunel Escobar made a diving stop and got him out at first. It sent Gordon to second. And Gordon would perish there with Stanton and Ozuna striking out to end the inning. Oh, 1. Saw the splits that came up for Martin Prado. Just about every split on Prado is about the same. You know, he's been so consistent in his career. He's a great example, too, of a player that when he got to the big leagues, I think a lot of people kind of threw him in the category of he's a utility guy, you know, reserve, 5th infielder. Prado down the right field line, hits it pretty well. Harper going to the corner of the track, and he makes the catch. Martin Prado sends Bryce Harper to the wall. Gio Gonzalez still hasn't given up a run.
Commanding the counts and moving the ball around the strike zone and minimizing base runners. You know, that's my game. And, you know, I go right at hitters and, you know, I don't like to walk guys. So, yeah, you know, I just attack. And I think, you know, this year, being in a big ballpark, having a really good outfield defense, I give up more fly balls and ground balls. So having a good outfield defense is going to be nice.
Dan Herron talking about how his game translates to Marlins Park. It's the 4th. It's 1-0 Nationals. A Bryce Harper home run. John Chimchuk, who's our baseball historian, ensconced up in the booth for this series. And he notes that we've talked about the oddities of Herron. He's given up 6 home runs. All of the runs he's given up this year, 8 of them have come on home runs. But in 22 innings this season, just 12 hits allowed, 6 singles, and 6 home runs. That's it. Outside corner, you could hear Escobar saying, "Come on, come on." He wasn't happy with Gabe Morales. Here's a look. And he had a beef. It's off. Well off. He narrated that pitch as it came in as well. And it's right at the same spot. It's literally on top of that last pitch on Fox Tracks.
That's how good Dan Herron is. He said, well, if he's going to call it there again, call it there once, I'll do it again.
It sounded like Escobar he beefed after the first call, and he had legitimate reason to. On that last pitch, he was narrating as it was coming across, just to remind the umpire that, hey, that last one wasn't a strike. Herron catches the outside corner on Jason Worth, who lined to Ichiro back in the first.
And I will say most umpires don't take too kindly to you narrating their strike zone for them.
Ball and a strike. It's called strike, and it's 1-2. Just about the same spot on both those pitches to Yunel Escobar. We'll see if Herron goes back out there. Yes, he did. And it rolls up the line. It's going to hook and just go foul. It just hit the lip enough to send it left. And before it got to the bag, it rolled foul.
Good recognition by Martin Prado here. He knew he had no chance of getting him at first base. So, hey, I'm going to let it roll. And you see it just go foul before it gets to the bag.
And once it's foul, make sure you keep it foul so it doesn't bounce back in. So Worth back at the plate, Escobar back at first. Of course, for Worth, a great run with the Phillies. He was there for 4 years. Every year they were in the postseason. He was in the postseason last year, certainly with the Nationals. Struggled. He was 1 for 17 in that division series, but he had a lot of company. Giants won that series 3-1.
Herron going back out there for that little slider or cutter off the plate. See if he can get the umpire to call it for him again.
Counts 3-2. We'll see if Escobar is in motion from first in a 1-0 Nationals lead. He is running. Little tapper up the middle. Gordon. Oh, Echeverria cuts in front and gets the out. Echeverria. Now, whether Gordon would have been able to get Escobar, they were all converging at the same time, right? I mean, Escobar, Echeverria, Gordon was there, and the baseball.
I think D. Gordon thinks he would have had him. You see him stretch here like a first baseman. He definitely would have had him out.
But if you're Echeverria, you're not sure. It's on your side of the bag.
You see D. Gordon. No, I had him.
So Escobar's at second, and here's Harper. Jam shot, pop up, great pitch. For a guy that put one in the seats his last time up, Aaron busts it right in on his hands. And you ask yourself, how can a guy that throws 87 get that far in on a guy with the bat speed of Harper?
Like I was saying earlier, great deception and pitch selection. That thing was a little cutter that was up and in. That's a really hard pitch to get a barrel on, and if he did get a barrel on it, it's probably going to go foul.
Now Ryan Zimmerman. And Herron misses away. Zimmerman hit a hot smash down the first base line. Michael Morse made a scrambling, diving stop to get the out in the second.
That first at bat, great piece of hitting by Zimmerman. That ball was down and away. He stayed with it long enough to hit that rocket down first baseline. Michael Morse made a great play.
It's out and it's 3-0. Chuck Hernandez, Miami's pitching coach. It looked like, as good a control as Herron has, that he wanted nothing to do with Zimmerman, that he'd rather pitch to Desmond. He stayed out and out and out.
Interesting, because Desmond swinging a much harder bat right now than Zimmerman is.
He struck Desmond out back in the second.
Up until last night, it hit 10-game hitting streak and multiple hit games in 4 of those 10. 405 during the streak that ended last night.
Desmond has always been a weapon offensively. Say what you want about his struggles defensively, and those struggles have been increased this year. He's made 8 errors, but he's won 3 consecutive Silver Slugger awards.
Desmond's 8 errors are 3 more than the entire Marlins team combined.
Which is a bit surprising in watching Desmond, and we've had a chance to watch him grow up in the big leagues. Just about every shortstop that gets to the big leagues scuffles defensively, and Desmond had those as a rookie his first couple of years as well, but then he cleaned it up. He made some big improvements defensively in years 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
strike 2 and 2.
He's that mold now of the big offensive shortstops. You see what is going on defensively, and Major League ranks between these two teams. Nationals last in defense, tied for first with 18 total errors, 11 infield errors. Let's see, the Marlins are number 1 with only 5 errors on the entire season.
No swing. First base umpire Kerwin Danley, and so Herron, if you're getting in front, and it didn't look like he went. Full count, 3 and 2.
Of Herron's 15 batters today, this is the 7th 3-ball count. 71 pitches already here in the 4th.
Runners on the move with 2 outs, bags loaded, and Herron almost got Escobar to bite on that. Escobar at second, Zimmerman at first. Runners on the move. Outside corner, and Desmond doesn't like it. And Herron may have caught a break.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Pitch number 6 looks just out. It's close. But Ian Desmond not happy, and Dan Herron escapes in the top of the 4th by the narrowest of margins.
Oh my
Dealers. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. Buy Checkers. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak. Try the new meatball sub. Pick yours. 2 for $5. And by Lexus of Pembroke Pines. Price, service, selection. You're gonna love us. Great shot of downtown Miami. Ian Desmond still smarting. And Giancarlo Stanton almost got clipped by that breaking ball. Here's an overhead look of that last pitch, which was called strike 3. You could hear Ian Desmond as we went to break voicing his displeasure.
And he had a legitimate beef there.
Yes, he did. Giancarlo Stanton, Marcell Ozuna, and Michael Morse against Gio Gonzalez. Stanton struck out with a runner at second back in the first. And it was that very pitch that got him, that changeup with kind of a screwball action that works away from the right-handed hitter.
Once again, we see Gonzalez throwing that in a fastball count, 2-0 count.
Now remember, I said somewhere up there's the dent. There it is, between the 42 and the 32. Here's the 2-2. Stanton, a little dribbler. Espinosa, and Stanton will beat it. That's a long way for a glove flip from Espinosa, and that really slowed the process down. I think Stanton beats it anyways, but he's aboard on a 80-foot base hit.
Yeah, that's a do-or-die play by the second baseman. That's all he could come up with. With that angle, he couldn't get his arm in a position to throw it. Stanton was definitely looking for a changeup right there because that fastball beat him pretty badly.
I don't think I've ever seen an infielder attempt a glove flip from that distance. I mean, think about it. That's a long ways. Ozuna now. Well, this was a run of hitters that Gio Gonzalez just cut right through. Stanton, Ozuna, and Morse striking all three out swinging. Second time through, it looks like both Stanton and Ozuna a little more selective on pitches that are off the plate.
Second time through, they'll see that Gio Gonzalez is going to be throwing that changeup more, and after you've seen it once, especially in a strikeout situation, you know what to look for and recognize a little better.
Stanton went 2-0 in his count. Ozuna is now 3-0. And it's low, and Miami's got runners first and second, nobody out. And here comes Morse. There's the location of all four pitches. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready for Marlins and Mets tomorrow night, 6:30 start. Marlins live pregame show. Dylan G, Jared Cozart. Second shot at the Mets, who swept Miami in 4 up in New York. The Marlins with an opportunity here, if they can win this ball game, for a 3-game sweep over the Nationals. And Morse, who struck out in the second, let's see if he makes the same adjustments that Stanton and Ozuna have made. Gonzalez misses in. And Wilson Ramos is out to chat with the 29-year-old lefty.
I always found that a lot of lefties, especially the ones with a good changeup, would always throw a changeup 1-0. So on those pitchers, I took a lot of 1-0 pitches on those lefties that had a good changeup, because I just figured that's not the pitch that I want to hit, especially ahead in the count.
Fastball at the knees for a strike. It's 1-1.
Saw that first at bat, struck out Morse on that good changeup on a swing. Another
fastball, and it's 1-2. Opportunity for Miami. Down 1-0. Bryce Harper's homer is the only run of this ball game.
See Stanton and Morris a little late on that fastball because the back of their mind they've got changeup.
Pitch in. And it's 2-2. Oftentimes the pitch in is the calling card for a changeup to follow. Stanton and Ozuna aboard to open up the bottom of the 4th.
There it is.
There it is. The changeup at 82, and Morse swings right through it. So 1 out, and here comes JT Realmuto.
That changeup, such good arm action on that changeup when it releases out of his hand. As a hitter, you're looking at arm speed, and the arm speed on his changeup is some of the best you're going to find. Gets a lot of hitters to swing at him.
He's got 5 strikeouts, 4 swinging, and those 4 swinging strikeouts are all changeups. Stanton, Ozuna, and twice with Morse. Realmuto bounced to second. The makings of a nice inning with Stanton's infield hit and Ozuna's walk. And now Gio Gonzalez is a ground ball away from getting out of the inning. Tough to lay off when you're thinking change and you get it, even if it drifts outside.
I was terrible at that. If I sat on a pitch and I got it, I usually swung at it no matter what because I was so happy that I guessed right.
Matt Williams in his 2nd year with the Nationals has the luxury of running a quality starter out every night. That fastball darts away, and it's 2-1.
Gio struggling with his fastball control right now. You saw Ramos was set up inside with that fastball, and it ended up sailing away.
Well, he's at 2-2, and remember it was a 2-2 changeup to Morse that ended that at bat. Solano brothers, Jonathan, Jared Saltalamacchia still on the paternity leave list. So Jonathan Solano up from AAA, the backup catcher to Realmuto. 2-2. He spun one up there. A breaking ball, and he's gone 3-2 now.
That big curveball. He's already thrown 2 3-2 changeups for strikeouts to both Ozuna and Stanton. We'll see what he does here.
1 out.
There it is.
And he got him. Boy, Gio Gonzalez, 2 strikeouts. Getting Realmuto after striking out Morse.
This is the first one he's thrown for a strike. The other 2 3-2 changeups were out of the strike zone, and he induced swings. With this one, fooled Realmuto badly, and he just watched it go by. It actually looks like a pretty good pitch to hit.
So Gonzalez is 2/3 of the way there, digging out of this 1st and 2nd nobody out spot, and it's up to Ichiro to get something out of this inning. Stanton the runner at 2nd. Ozuna's at 1st. Ichiro a chopper in the hole at short, and he was out by less than a step. Gonzalez a breaking ball for a strike. Ryan Howard has homered again, a 3-run shot, and the Phillies and the Braves are tied 3-3 in the 3rd. Ichiro, little dribbler, Espinoza, and he's not going to get him. Stanton took too big a turn. It's coming home and is caught between home and third. And Stanton dives and he gets back. Ramos never threw it to Escobar, and somehow Stanton survives.
Wow, you see right here, Ramos, you're taught to run the runner back at full speed, get him to full speed, and then get him the ball. And he almost does the Willie Mays Hayes going back to third base, doesn't quite get there. But Ramos thought, it looked like he thought Stan was just going to stop him. He was going to tag him. He put the ball back in his glove to tag him, and he kept on going.
It's a hit for Ichiro and an at bat for Echeverria with the bags loaded. And he fouls it back. Little stop start.
The stutter, get there. Not pretty, but effective. Get
0-1 to a Danny Echeverria. Echeverria, right center field. It's in there. Going to the wall. Stanton scores. Ozuna scores. Ichiro scores. Echeverria with a triple, and it's 3-1 Miami.
Huge hit after a huge mistake by the Nationals defense. Echeverria comes through again, crushing this ball to right center.
And the failure by the Nationals to get Stanton in the rundown is enormous. Another look.
Good piece of hitting right there by Echeverria. Is ready for that fastball. And it goes to show you that adding an Ichiro, team speed, he beats that ball out for a single. D. Gordon, the way he's been able to get hits on balls that are infield hits. He leads baseball right now with 10 infield hits. That Ichiro keeps the inning alive.
And Echeverria, the hottest hitter right now in the National League, comes through. Herron takes a fastball out. The count 1-1. Another run is sitting 90 feet away. There are 2 outs. Herron called out on strikes in the third. And you can see Gio Gonzalez, not a happy guy right now. It seemed like he had pitched out of that inning. And Herron swings and misses at a ball in the dirt. The Nationals don't get the out at third, and a Danny Echeverria makes them pay. as the Marlins have started to get it back together. Echeverria has been leading the way from the bottom of the order. Now, 2 outs here. Runners first and second. Ichiro, an infield single. Stanton was caught off third. Randi Vision Cam highlight. And Echeverria with 2 outs and 1 strike bangs it in the gap, chasing home all 3 runs. And for Gio Gonzalez, who pitched so well, remember he struck out Morse and Real Muto after the first 2 runners reached. That was before the ill-fated Ichiro infield single. And the oddity of that play, and it involves certainly Gio Gonzalez's ERA, there's no error on that play. In a play which the Nationals certainly should have had the out and been out of the inning, you give Stanton a heck of a lot of credit for not quitting on the play and not just giving up in the rundown.
He psyched him out. It looked like he was going to give up. Ramos had transferred the ball to his glove hand to tag him, and he went right by Escobar and gets back to third safely.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Hit hard over Echeverria into the gap left center, and Ichiro picks it up. Ramos has a hit. All right, I'm going to bounce this off of you because I've heard it from some scouts over the last 2, 3, 4 years. In this age of specialization, and it starts early in youth sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, tennis, golf, soccer, Major League scouts, NBA scouts, even NFL scouts like athletes who have played more than one sport, who didn't specialize. To me, that move by Stanton is a football move, and he was an outstanding football player in high school. We see it with his routes in right field, and I think there is an example of a guy that's played some football. He was a wide receiver, a real good one, and a corner. Ramos the chasing tackler, and Stanton the guy that a little bit of a stop-start move got him back to third.
There you have it right there. Stop-start move. Ramos thought he was going to stop and just get basically tagged out. And I agree with you 100%. Coaching youth baseball myself with my son, 10, 11, 12 years old. These kids play 70 to 100 games a year, just baseball, and I would have parents come up to me and ask me, hey, what should we do this summer? Where should we play? And I'm like, go play soccer, go play basketball, go play some other sport, take some time off of baseball. But I think they feel pressure that they're not going to make the teams that they're on because the coach wants them there year round.
Ichiro makes the catch. Another great example of that is the latest addition for the Marlins, D. Gordon, whose father, of course, Tom, pitched for a long time in the big leagues. But he was a basketball first guy. He played basketball up until his junior year. Then he added baseball and kind of fell in love with the game. And that's one of the things that Michael Hill identified with Gordon. The Marlins had asked the Dodgers numerous times about Gordon's availability over the last 3 years. They felt he was a guy, as Gio Gonzalez bunts. Morse will pick it up. Marlins felt that D. Gordon was a guy who was still scratching the surface because he was so young in baseball experience. He wasn't a travel team kid at 12 or 13 or 14. He was an athlete, and a great athlete, who was still learning the game. And thus, at 26, he just turned 27, still had some ceiling to improve. And that was a similar draft when the Marlins took Stanton. Remember, Jason Hayward was taken in the first round. Stanton was taken in the second round. Hayward was more polished. He was a travel team guy in that hyper competitive East Cobb County program, suburban Atlanta. Stanton was the raw athlete out of LA. Span into left field. Ichiro up with it. Round third. Ramos is coming. Ichiro's throw to the plate is offline, and the Nationals get one of those runs back. And Span finds his way into second. And it's 3-2 Miami.
Good piece of hitting right there by Denard Span. Breaking ball that just didn't hit his spot. I'm sure he's trying to go for the outside corner. It kind of broke over the middle of the plate. And good base running by Denard Span. He didn't even stop around first base. Gets into scoring position for Escobar.
And here is Escobar. Dan Herron trying to keep this lead. Gets a strike. And Escobar has bounced out and walked.
And Dan Herron gives up his first run without a home run.
Comes in with a fastball. Herron shaking his head. Whether he thought it was a swing or should have been a called strike, not quite sure. Three and one.
Herron just seems a bit off today. He's got 2 walks on the day. When you look at his location, he's missing consistently right off the plate, where normally you see him make that adjustment and start hitting those corners.
It's out. Escobar again very vocal as it came across the plate. No swing. The umpires did check on a check swing. As a result, another walk. Not only the walks, Jeff, but he's been into deep counts with just about every hitter. And so Escobar walks. So does Chuck Hernandez, actually, from Miami's dugout out to the mound. A lot going on in baseball. We talked about the early home run from Ryan Howard as the Phillies and the Braves are tied 3-3 in the top of the 4th. The Cubs have a 5-1 lead over the Reds with Cincinnati in the bottom of the 5th. And that White Sox Royals game, there was no fight, by the way.
That's a good sign.
The one that was suspended was finished, and the White Sox walked off with the win in the bottom of the 9th, 3-2. They'll play another game in Chicago as Worth takes a strike. He's lined out and bounced out. Big spot here for Dan Herron. A 1-run Miami lead in the top of the 5th. Worth goes after a pitch that looked like it was up and out. It's 0-2. My partner Tommy Hutton still under the weather. Hope to have him back this week. But in watching Dan Herron a couple of starts, he feels that Dan Herron is very much right now like a right-handed Mark Burley.
Yeah, that same type mold. Works quickly, doesn't walk many batters, lots of strikes, good control. See today, though, just a little bit off his game. Usually that strike to ball ratio is much higher for Dan Herron. 90 pitches already in the 5th inning.
Got him. Worth was looking for something else. And that was a fastball right down the middle. The Nationals get 1 run, but Dan Herron keeps the lead. It's 3-2 halfway through in Miami. right now. Geico Marlins moment. Cody Ross makes his first major league pitching appearance. In a 13-2 loss to the Phillies, he allowed 1 hit, was 3 for 4. And of course, that shot of his son, and D. Gordon bangs another one into center field. My goodness. He is 3 for 3. A bunt single, a ground ball single to left, and that a line drive to center. And the Marlins have their leadoff man aboard in the bottom of the 5th against Gio Gonzalez.
I love the aggressiveness here. A lot of leadoff guys think that they must take pitches every at bat. D. Gordon gets up there aggressively on first pitch fastball. Lines another one, and the most he now takes over the lead.
He's running on the pitch, swing and a miss. Ramos's throw, waiting for him. He's out. What a throw from Wilson Ramos. One of the best arms behind the plate in the National League. He almost looked like he was off balance before he cut loose. Gordon did not get a good jump away from first.
Absolutely perfect throw. Couldn't get any better than that. And now that's 6 times that D. Gordon has been caught stealing in 14 attempts.
Yeah, that's something that the Marlins and Gordon will have to clean up. Prado busts his bat and finds green grass in front of Bryce Harper. So a couple of hits to open the inning, and here comes Stanton.
That last hit gives D. Gordon 3 for today. Now leads major leagues with most 3-hit games this season with 5.
This has been a fun cat and mouse between Gio Gonzalez and Giancarlo Stanton. That changeup, Stanton struck out swinging back in the first. Breaking ball, Stanton deep center field, way back off the top of something. It's in play. Prado will score. Stanton to third, makes the turn. The Marlins have the run. Not sure what the ball hit. I don't think it went out. But in the deepest, darkest part of Marlins Park, up on that ridge, here's a look. Just grazes the edge of the wall. That's about 415 feet from home plate. Wow. And so Stanton has to be satisfied with a triple. Ozuna's up, infield's in, and a pitch is a called strike.
That's a little low.
Crowd doesn't like it. Miami's bench not pleased. Ozuna, right center field, well hit, deep enough. Stanton will tag, and just like that, Miami has 2 quick runs and a 5-2 lead.
You gotta love that, bouncing back after giving up a run last inning. Offense responds, gets a couple more for the Fish here in the bottom of the 5th.
Two. Michael Morse swings and misses. And another big cut by Morse, and it's 0-2. Well, Miami has 3 hits in the inning. They've got 2 runs. Remember, Gordon was caught stealing. Stanton's mammoth triple. Off the facing of that wall that's bending away from home plate.
I think Stanton thought he got it.
You see the yellow line up on top. If the ball lands beyond that yellow line, it's a home run, but anything between those two yellow lines is in play.
I think Stanton thought he got it, and he watched it a little bit. He probably would have got an inside the park home run if he would have run all the way.
Span, I think, thought it was gone. And Morse swings and strikes out. Michael Morse has punched out 3 times in the ball game, but Miami adds 2 and leaves it 5-2.
All 19 games, and one of them is the outfielder Ichiro, which got Mike Redmond to be thinking, why did one topic keep coming up time and time again in spring training?
You know, I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about all the time in spring training that I wasted on talking about how I was going to get Ichiro in the game, and he's played every game. so I'll never get that time back.
No, but he's happy not to get that time back. Sure, you want Christian Yelich in the lineup, but since he has been injured, he's on the DL. Ichiro's filled in nicely. He has started now. Today his 10th game of the year. The Marlins, I don't think coincidentally, are 6-3 in Ichiro starts. Guys?
All right, thank you, Craig. Ichiro with a base hit in this ball game. On the season, now with 13 hits. Sam Dyson is in. Dan Herron kind of wobbled through his 5 innings. As Jeff Conine pointed out, not his best control. And so it's Dyson and the rest of the bullpen that'll try to keep the Nationals down. Good pitch by Dyson. Morse has it, and Harper is out number 1 here in the 6th. Sam Dyson, you've got a hard thrower, a guy that's got one of those turbo sinkers. Gets a lot of ground balls. And here is Ryan Zimmerman. Dyson dots the outside corner with a strike.
The blazing arms we've talked about over the last 2 nights coming out of the Marlins bullpen. Sam Dyson. It's a very quiet motion home as well, and he gets tremendous power out of this arm. Mid to upper 90s with movement.
South Carolina Gamecock is Dyson. Zimmerman swings and misses. Of course, Dyson from the Tampa area, born in Tampa. He's 26. Marlins picked him off of waivers from the Toronto Blue Jays. Got to the big leagues with Toronto in 2012.
98 miles an hour. Boy, tough to give up on an arm like that.
There's a 4th round pick by the Blue Jays. And that, yeah, in hindsight, probably not the best of moves by Toronto. Gordon on to first in time. And Zimmerman bounces out. Dyson looks sharp. You can get into the Marlins and Mets ball game at half price with the Miami Herald half price Tuesday. This Tuesday, Marlins and Mets half price Lexus Legends Platinum tickets. Great discounts on tickets in several other categories. Go to Marlins.com for tickets and the Miami Herald's half price Tuesday. Ian Desmond now. Mets and Yankees again tonight. That's Jonathan Neese against former Marlin Nathan Eovaldi.
You look at that Marlins pen, even though it's a fairly early exit for the starter Dan Herron after 5 innings. He had 90 pitches. Because of the way the Marlins have been going deep into games the last 4, this bullpen's nice and rested, and you can take over for a game like this and have confidence that they're going to come in and do a good job.
Yeah, for Mike Redmond, this was something he had to battle when the ball club was losing ball games and the short starts were piled up on top of each other, which meant the workload of the bullpen was extensive. Two-1 to Ian Desmond. It's fouled at the plate.
I'll tell you, it's not fun coming from a 86-mile-an-hour fastball from Dan Herron that's cutting a little bit, maybe run a little bit, to a bowling ball that Dyson's throwing up there at 97, 98 miles an hour.
Dyson made 31 appearances last year, gave up just 1 home run in 42 innings, and an ERA in the low 2s.
Ground ball machine, Dyson and Morris. Very similar styles, mid to upper 90s with sink, which you don't really see many pitchers with that type of velocity have that kind of movement. Normally when you're mid to upper 90s, that ball straightens out and doesn't have the downward movement like those two guys have.
This is in. Atlanta and the Phillies in the bottom of the 5th, 3-3 there. The Phillies will be in to finish off this homestand next weekend after the Mets are here Monday through Wednesday. Phillies Friday through Sunday next weekend. That would be strike 3 call. And down goes Desmond. He was unhappy the last time. Fires his helmet here. Pitch number 7. 5-2 Miami. times. Here's that last pitch.
Let's think of that number 7 pitch down there. I mean, the thread on the outside and bottom of that strike zone. Ian Desmond did not like the call.
Matt Williams came out, and I think he came out to see if Gabe Morales had tossed his shortstop, Ian Desmond, out of the ball game. Real Muto gets into one, left center field. That's deep, and that's off the wall, base of the wall. He can run, Real Muto, and he's on his way to third with a triple.
There, Rich, that's another athlete we were talking about, the quarterback, superstar athlete, football player in Oklahoma. The guy's got wheels for a catcher. He can run very well.
This one hit off the base of the wall.
The third Marlins triple today.
Infield in, here is Ichiro. Echeverria, a 3-run triple. Stanton, an RBI triple. Gio Gonzalez misses up. Pitch in. It's 5-2 Miami. This game has a decidedly different feel. If Wilson Ramos and Yunel Escobar execute a rundown play at third and get the final out of the fourth before Echeverria comes up. Giancarlo Stanton had over on the bag. He was dead to rights between the two bags. Ramos ran him back to third. Stanton put a bit of a move on him. And for whatever reason, Ramos didn't throw to Escobar. He tried to tag him, and he missed. And Echeverria blasted a 3-run triple. And the Marlins had their lead. They've kept it, added to it. Matt Grace in the pen. Ichiro with a 3-1 count in the infield in. And he runs it into right field, a base hit. They love him in the clubhouse. They love him in the stands. He has made a tremendous impact with this team.
You're talking about the versatility and the consistency of Martin Prado earlier in the game, Rich. Here's another guy, lefty, righty, didn't matter who he's faced over his career, almost identical numbers, no matter what side that pitcher's throwing from.
6-2. Ichiro, 2 more hits, a 6-game hit streak. And here's Echeverria. Boy, how hot is Echeverria? 9 straight now. His average close to 500 in those 9 games.
Up to 329 on the season.
Matt Williams on his way out. Well, it's amazing in this game. As good as Gio Gonzalez was throwing through the first 3 2/3 innings, he exits now. 6-2 Miami. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. ceremony and photograph. Has 2 hits, has contributed to a 6-2 Miami lead. Fox Sports Supports proud to team up with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, go to foxsportsupports.com.
You know, it was great too, Rich, after that photo, the group shot. You know, the respect these guys have for Ichiro in that clubhouse. I mean, they realize they're playing with a Hall of Famer. And I think, you know, I work with Andre Dawson and Tony Perez, Hall of Famers, but I think the guys are so young nowadays. They never saw those 2 gentlemen play and didn't realize how great they were, even though they're in the Hall of Fame. Well, they're getting a chance to play with a Hall of Famer right now, and I think they're really soaking it up.
And a guy that they grew up watching. This is Ichiro's 15th year in the big leagues. He's at first. Matt Grace, big lefty out of UCLA, your alma mater, and Echeverria is just bursting with line drives right now. Short, compact swings. He's pulling the ball to the left. He's driving it to right center.
You got to love what's going on with Etch's swing right now. You see this ball down the middle. I think last year he was so concerned on staying to right center. He tried to hit that ball to the right side of the field, but this year he's really hitting it where it's pitched. That ball's down the middle. I'm going to pull it and pull it with power.
Jeff Baker will get it at bat against a lefty. With Ichiro at second, Echeverria at first.
Jeff Baker, one of the casualties of the great play of all the players on the Marlins. You're going to see this, unfortunately. You're not taking anybody out of the outfield. You're really not going to take anybody out of the infield. You're going to get an occasional pinch hitter now and then. And, you know, Jeff Baker has only got 3 at-bats on the season.
Baker takes a strike.
Has walked 3 times.
As well, the other, as you see Blake Trinan in the bullpen, the other thing that has affected Baker's at bats, Solano's at bats, is the fact that the Marlins came out and fell on their face in their first homestand and then were swept by the Mets. And so as a manager, Mike Redmond under some heat, you're not going to come into a game like this and give 2 or 3 guys a day off, because you need to win. You've got a chance to sweep. You're starting to play well. And so you're right. There really just hasn't been the opportunity to give Baker a start or Solano a start. Struck him out. And so Baker goes down on a fastball. Here comes D. Gordon. And that'll happen when you're sitting for 3 weeks without game at bats. You can take all the BP you want.
Nothing can simulate what Jeff Baker just saw from Grace right there in that at bat. And unfortunately, you have to see live pitching to get your timing, and you can tell that his timing is off.
D. Gordon takes outside. Now D. Gordon has 3 hits. 31 hits already in the season. That's best in the National League.
And amazingly enough, coming into today, he was not even leading the National League in hitting, as torrid as he has been.
And unless Adam Jones has 3 hits, it leads all of baseball. Little tapper out towards second, out there, and that's it. Echeverria pulled up shy of Espinoza, forced him to go to the bag, and that gives Prado an at bat with runners at the corners and 2 outs.
After the Realmuto triple and the Ichiro single, Marlins had first and second, nobody out. Great opportunity to tack on some insurance runs. Now they got first and third, 2 outs.
Prado's 1 for 3.
Zimmerman was actually playing behind D. Gordon at first base and decided, you know what, we're not going to give him second.
There's still a learning curve for him over on that side of the diamond.
And now Prado's eyes just lit up, seeing that huge hole over there between first and second.
Facing Matt Grace, the 26-year-old. Third guy off that UCLA Bruins staff to get to the big leagues. The other two, Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer. Some really quality arms on that team.
Saw my former Bruins last night, ranked number 2 in the nation right now. Of course, I claim them when they're number 2 in the nation.
Strike, and it's 1-1. Stands on deck. Prado and the Marlins up 6-2. Stanton still wearing the remnants of that dive into third to avoid the Ramos tag, which is such a key play in this game. That's no swing, and it's 2-1.
Definitely a turning point in this game. Good athletic move by Stanton to get out of that rundown, and Echeverria stays hot.
Pitch into Prado. Well, this is a pretty good spot if you're Martin Prado. Stanton's on deck, and there is a right-hander in the pen. But it's not like Grace will have to face Stanton, but he knows that his teammate, whoever's coming in, will.
With the bases loaded.
Yeah, trying the right-hander. And that big hole on the right side still inviting, as you said. Although Grace has pitched Prado inside. Bounces it out to short. Desmond flips in time to get the out. Miami gets another run, leaves a couple, and leads it 6-2. On a Sunday, nice crowd, Marlins Park. A chance to sweep Washington. To do it, though, the Marlins need to get continued support from their bullpen. A 5-inning start from Dan Herron. Sam Dyson handled the 6th. And A.J. Ramos coming in. Ramos's numbers quite good so far. 0.87 ERA. This is his 10th appearance. And Dyson faced just 3 hitters in the 6th. Ramos enters the bottom third of the order.
Boy, coming off a spectacular year last year, A.J. Ramos 7-0 with the Fish, a 2.1 ERA. Gave up only 36 hits in 64 innings pitched. The only thing you could probably say is that he had a few too many walks, 43 walks in those 64 innings, but this year only 1 walk in 10 innings.
Wilson Ramos, the hitter, Danny Espinosa, and then the pitcher spot will follow. Ramos has had a nice series at the plate and behind the plate. It's just when he got out near third base that things went a little haywire. Here's the 0-2. And he fouls it at the plate.
See AJ yelling at himself there. I think it was just a bit too good of a pitch. 0-2. He wanted to waste it a little bit more and try to get him to chase. But you look at what AJ's done in his major league career with the Marlins. 212 innings pitched, 289 strikeouts.
1-2.
Only 1 home run allowed last year in 64 innings pitched.
In the throes of Miami's 2-week funk to start the season, there were only a few spots where you could point and say that's working. D. Gordon, the defense. Echeverria has it. Fires to first. Starters, bullpen, offense, it was all haywire to begin. And now it's all firing at the right time. Mets and Marlins finish their series on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, kids eat free. Every child 12 and under with a ticket gets a coupon for a free KM Beef Frank, bag of Frito-Lay chips, small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Get your tickets at marlins.com. Here's Espinosa against A.J. Ramos.
I think that's really improved this year. Ramos's velocity, I think toward the end of last year, he was low 90s, 91, 92, but as you saw that last at bat, fastball's running up there at 95 now. And he gets more swings on pitches out of the strike zone than I think any reliever that the Marlins have, which tells me he's got tremendous deception and tremendous stuff when you get major league hitters to chase balls out of the strike zone.
He's got the good chase rate. Or the hitters have bad chase rates. 0-2.
There's another one.
And Real Muto holds the foul tip. Espinosa goes down. Pitch 2 and 3 were both swinging strikes. And that's a great illustration of what Jeff was talking about. And so Ramos, the Texas Tech Red Raider, goes to work on Dan Uggla, getting another chance in the big leagues. Uggla, who went through extensive work on his eyes in the offseason. Of course, a real struggle in Atlanta last couple of years. Didn't play well in San Francisco in his week with the world champs. His eyesight not bad, but when he's in motion and moving for a ground ball or swinging a bat, they found that his eyesight suddenly dropped dramatically. In a variety of exercises and procedures. Got to spring training, had a terrific spring. Eyesight better. He has yet to get going for the Nationals.
And he's one of those guys you really root for. Loved watching him play here with the Marlins. Every time he went out there, he gave 100% all the time, and just a good guy. You wish him success. Obviously not against the Marlins, but everywhere else we wish him well.
Uggla swings and misses and strikes out. A.J. Ramos and Sam Dyson, 2 perfect innings in relief. Giancarlo coming up Stick around, kids. Enjoy the show. Of the 7th, Giancarlo Stanton getting set to lead it off. Blake Treinen's coming in, and for Stanton, this our Warren Henry drive of the game. Now it didn't get out. Most thought it would. It just glanced off the very top of that wall. Stanton rounding third, ended up with an RBI triple. So he's 2 for 3, scored 2 runs. He was without the face mask against Gio Gonzalez, the lefty. All 3 of his at-bats were against Gio Gonzalez. And here's a look at Stanton coming out of the box.
He thinks it's gone, and why not? I mean, he crushed that ball. Then he sees right here, oh, let's turn on the Jets. And thought about, actually, you saw him round third base, thought about possibly going home for inside the park home run.
When you hit a ball 415, 420 feet, or however long that'll show up,
one foot to the left, too, it lands on the home run sculpture.
Blake Treinen comes in. There are 2 players active in baseball who have a slugging percentage of over 700 against another team, an opponent. Albert Pujols is one of those. Stanton takes a strike. Pujols has a lifetime slugging percentage against the Expos/Nationals at .728. Stanton fouls it back. So only 2 in baseball have that, where they've got a slugging percentage over 700. Pujols, 1 opponent. Stanton has it against 4 opponents, including the Nationals. He's over 700. As well, his slugging percentage is highest against the Giants, 739, the Rockies, 735, and the Dodgers, 710. A swing and a miss. As it happens, the Marlins' next road trip, the Nationals, the Giants, and the Dodgers. So he's going to see all 3 of those teams on Miami's next trip. Strikeout to open up the 7th. Here's Marcell Ozuna.
Sounds like a good time to get hot there, Rich. Treinen, one of the good young power arms out of this Washington Nationals bullpen. Look at that big breaking ball. upper 90s fastball, 96, 97 miles an hour with a breaking ball like that.
Well, it's a Nationals pen that has undergone some renovations. Whether they are an upgrade or not, it remains to be seen. Tyler Clippard, Nationals trading with Oakland to get Yunel Escobar for Clippard. Swing and a miss. Trinan has struck out both Stanton and Ozuna. Matt Thornton remains. Late season acquisition last year. He's got the most experience. He and Drew Storen are the grizzled vets. But Rafael Martin, Felipe Rivero, who's on the DL, and we've seen Matt Grace. Those are 3 rookies that made the bullpen. You've got Trinan, Aaron Barrett, and Tanner Roark. Morse, a little dribbler. Escobar to first, and Morse beats it. So 3 strikeouts for Morse, and so that 70-foot dribbler is going to feel like a line drive.
What did I call it yesterday?
A day saver.
A day saver. That just happens to be the Marlins' 26th infield hit, which leads Major League Baseball. 4 of them today.
But you've got D. Gordon and Ichiro contributing heavily to that category.
Well, I tell you what, when you're a hitter struggling like Mike Morse is now, that puts a big smile on your face when you're able to get a hit like that.
Little tapper out towards short. Desmond gets an out there, and Miami's 7th is over. To the 8th, 6-2 Marlins. A big inning for the Fish. This was the 4th. Giancarlo Stanton with an infield hit to get things started. Our H.H. Gregg high definition highlights. Marcell Ozuna would walk. 1st and 2nd, nobody out. And then Gio Gonzalez buckled down.
2 outs. And then Ichiro. Perfect placement. Gets caught. Stanton off third base. Here's the play of the inning. Ramos thinks he's going to chase down the big man and tag him out. Safe. Everybody's safe. And a red-hot Echeverria comes through with a 3-base triple, scoring all 3 runs.
Your game summary, 6 runs, 12 hits. That was an enormous inning for Miami. If Stanton is caught, the Marlins don't get anything out of that inning. Denard Span, Yunel Escobar, Jason Worth. Top of the order for the Nationals in the 8th. Miami with a 4-run lead, and A.J. Ramos on the mound. Bullpen's been very good on a day where Dan Herron did not have his best stuff. But to his credit, and talk about a veteran figuring it out as he goes, Herron was able to get through 5 and give up just the 2 runs. Span had an RBI single in the 5th. Drew Storen in Washington's pen. And a good chance, regardless of score, that you'll see Steve Cishek late in this one. Span swings and misses, and it's 2-2.
Didn't Hart Span on that swing almost look like, what was that pitch? It just disappeared on me. He swung and missed by a lot. It looked like a straight fastball from here, but AJ just does a great job of hiding that ball, and it jumps on the hitters.
2-2 pitch is fouled off.
There's an old school Marlin fan right there coming up with the baseball.
Very nice. And he's going to give it.
Oh, gives it to a kid.
Looks like it's headed to a kid. Echeverria on to first in time.
Oh, hits. He goes down.
He does.
Feet up. He still comes up with the baseball. What a play.
He's got the ball. Thumbs up. Fans up.
Yes.
And he's already thinking who he's going to give it to. He wants to give it to a youngster.
Oh, what about the kid right there? There's one right. Oh, there's a deserving little fellow there.
Well, he may know that youngster. Escobar takes a strike. 21,000 plus here at Marlins Park on this Sunday. The Mets are here tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. Great start by Terry Collins and the Mets. Dylan G and Jared Cozart, the pitching matchup tomorrow night. All 3 games at 7:10. All 3 games here on Fox Sports Florida. 6:30 for Marlins Live. Bouncer into right field, and Escobar finds a hit. Escobar is doing a nice job right now. He was acquired with the idea that they'd put him at second, and he could play second, add some pop. But with Anthony Rendon out, he's been over at third. He's reached base now 16 consecutive games. He's been on base 3 times in this one. Walked twice and now has a base hit. And here is Worth. Jeff Conine's normal seats right there.
Yeah, I got the good seats with food service.
No, you don't.
Carl Pavano style.
No, you don't.
You're right, I don't.
That's right. When we did the 3 analysts last year, Pavano, for a pitcher's perspective, ended up in the Diamond Club seats down there.
And it was just like a parade of delicacies coming his way. Well,
it's all you can eat.
I was in the third base camera well, starving.
Didn't you have a power bar or a victory bar or something?
Somebody threw me a bone, so to speak, and threw me a dry power bar.
Worth strikes out, and A.J. Ramos continues to do good work. 3 strikeouts for Ramos of the 5 outs that he's recorded. And here is Bryce Harper.
Preston Wilson was out in right field, hungry as well.
I think we're going to do that again this year. Have the 4 analysts. Jeff Conine was in the third base camera well. Pavano was getting white tablecloth service with all you can eat and drink, I might add, behind home plate. And Preston Wilson in right field with Tommy Hutton in the booth.
That was a lot of fun. It just hopefully gave the fans some perspective too on our take on different angles of the game.
Bryce Harper homered in the second off of Dan Herron. The Nationals had a 1-0 lead for the first 4.5 innings of this ball game. The Nationals are at 7-11. They are playing without their best player. If you talk to many scouts who've watched Matt Williams' team over the last year, Anthony Rendon, their best hitter. Now, if Bryce Harper stays healthy and he continues what he's doing right now, that may change. But you add Rendon to this lineup, which is already pretty thick, and all of a sudden Escobar is hitting 8.
Well, yeah, you look at Jason Worth, who had very limited spring training at bats. And I think that's showing right now. He's not taking very good swings. We've seen him hit one ball hard, really. His hits have come off the end of the bat toward right field. But you're right. If you look at Bryce Harper, if he continues to play like he's playing, Rendon, for me, was in the running for the National League MVP last year. He had a tremendous season.
As we talked about with Harper, and he showed it with the home run, his walk rate is up. His chase rate, pitches out of the zone, is down. His on base percentage has been well over 400 so far this year. Slugging percentage most of the year has been over 500. But he chases there, and Ramos gets his 4th strikeout. Boy, the bullpen's been fantastic. Sam Dyson for a scoreless inning. A.J. Ramos a scoreless 2 innings with 4 punchouts. 6-2 Miami. Trying to stretch their win streak to 5 in a row. Our Toyota trend. Last time the Marlins swept the Nationals at home was back in 2012. Redmond was managing in Single A in 2012. Boy, it's a much different look on Mike Redmond's face right now than it was a week ago, when nothing would go right. No matter what buttons he would push, whether it was a starting pitcher that went short, or a bullpen that couldn't get outs, or an offense that couldn't score runs. Now suddenly it's all working. And the Marlins facing Drew Storen here in the bottom of the 8th. Storen already has 5 save opportunities, and he's closed 4 of them. He's got Ichiro, a couple of hits today. Ball and a strike. Tom Kohler with a nice start yesterday. Stanton a homer and a double and a single yesterday, so he figured he'd add the triple today.
The 2-day cycle.
A weekend saver.
Yes.
Here's the 1-1.
When you look at the complexion of this Marlins team and how well they played in spring training, you couldn't possibly think that the start they had was going to continue throughout the entire season. I think the personnel is just too good and too talented. And now they're just starting to play, I think, to their potential.
Ichiro swings and misses. Drew Storen still has good stuff. The question is, can he nail down that closer role? Jose Fernandez threw today, and the hope is he gets a chance to throw to some live batting practice this week. Everything today went well. Henderson Alvarez has started to throw again and should get up on a mound and be throwing here soon on the 15-day DL with inflammation in that right shoulder. Echeverria takes a strike, and it's 0-1. And the Nationals, 3 outs from being swept here, getting Storen in the ball game, trying to keep him sharp. Nationals head to Atlanta to take on the Braves, and Echeverria swings and misses. You could just tell watching the 2 at bats, Ichiro and Echeverria. Storen is a notch up.
Another guy that when he's on, and we saw this early in his Washington Nationals career, when he's on, he's got swing and miss stuff as well. And when a major league hitter as hot as Etch swings and misses that far on a slider, you know it's a good slider.
So Storen with a pair of outs. Justin Bour will get the pinch hit at bat. Speaking of at bats, MLB.com's at bat, the #1 app for live baseball up to the moment. In-game highlights, look-ins, replay reviews. You can pull in teams' radio broadcast, StatCast, and more. And with MLB.tv, if you hook that up there, you can watch any out-of-market telecast along with your MLB.com app. Here's Bour. 2 RBI hits yesterday, and Storen the Stanford product and first-round pick. Same draft as Steven Strasburg. The breaking ball for a strike.
2 big hits yesterday for Justin Bour. RBI singles. Really a much-needed shot in the arm for this offense. Got the start at first base, giving Mike Morse the day off. Be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Mike Morse 3 Ks today.
Cubs draft pick, and the Marlins found him in the minor league Rule 5 draft. Not the major league version, the minor league. Now, and I don't know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyways. Maybe someone out there in the Twitterverse does. In the major league Rule 5 draft, the team drafts a player. It's a $50,000 fee. If he gets returned to the team, you get $25,000 back. I don't know in the minor league version what the dollar amount is. Bour may get a hit out of this. Storen has no play, and Justin Bour has an infield hit, and the Marlins have their 4th infield hit of the ball game.
That's the 5th.
Oh, you're right. Gordon's
5th
bunt.
infield. How about that?
I wasn't counting the Gordon bunt. And the guys that have the infield hits aren't burners either, right? Stanton, Morse.
And
well,
Bour.
Ichiro has one, and then Bour. Here is Gordon. 3 for 4 is Gordon. Swing and a miss. A lot of injury news today in baseball. Yasiel Puig to the disabled list with a hamstring. Real concern in St. Louis. Adam Wainwright with an apparent Achilles injury, an MRI to come, but that doesn't sound good. And he hurt it on a swing. Max Scherzer, the National starter, is nursing a sore thumb. He did that hitting, and that has brought a lot of columnists or writers, broadcasters calling for the DH in the National League.
Adam Wainwright, as you said, coming out of the box, said he felt like the catcher's mask hit him in the back of the leg there, in the lower leg. And that's a telltale sign of an Achilles injury. And hopefully not a full rupture. Hopefully he'll be back soon, but that's not a good sign.
0-2 to Gordon. He's got another hit into right field. My goodness. D. Gordon leads all of baseball with 32 hits.
Whatever you're doing, D, keep doing it. You see Storen leaves the ball up and over the plate like a changeup. D. Gordon is not missing those pitches right now. Anything over the middle of that plate, and he's getting hit on.
If you break it down statistically, one of the big improvements for Gordon is just that, is hitting off-speed pitches. His average over 400 this year against off-speed pitches. Here's Prado, runners first and second.
And speaking of him in spring training, he was so happy to be here with the Marlins. Frank Minichino, they just said, hey, we want you to be whoever you're going to be. Just hit the ball. In L.A., they were adamant that he hit the ball on the ground all the time and use his speed. And he said that just wasn't the player I was. In spring training, he leads off a game with a home run, and he basically got yelled at because it wasn't on the ground.
Espinosa's there, and he captures that pop off the bat of Martin Prado. 3 outs to get for a sweep of the Nationals for Miami. For more information or find a participating dealer, go to FloridaCubota.dealers.com. Jeff Conine, your ship is leaving, it looks like.
My ship is sailing.
And you're not on it.
I'm not on it.
Maybe you can catch up out in the Bahamas.
Can I take your plane? Take your plane and maybe catch it?
Yeah, right. Here is Steve Cishek, just his 6th appearance this year. This is not a save opportunity, but the Marlins trying to keep Cishek sharp. The Mets are here for 3 tomorrow night. Cishek in, and he'll try to close the door on the Washington Nationals. Ryan Zimmerman, Ian Desmond, Wilson Ramos. This is a team that Cishek has always pitched well against, the Nationals.
Here we are 19 games into the Marlins season, and the closer, Steve Cishek, has only had 2 save opportunities.
1 of 2. Marlins have won both those games. They only came about 2 weeks apart.
But like you said, with a non-save situation, you need to get your closer in there to keep him sharp. They're going to need him.
Especially Cishek. In his history, he's been a really good closer and a dependable one for Miami. But when things get off kilter with him, it's normally from lack of work and fine-tuning. Ichiro approaches and makes the catch, and Ryan Zimmerman is out number 1 here in the 9th inning. Here's Ian Desmond who was usually dazzling against the Marlins, but today has been a frustrating day for him. He's not been happy with Gabe Morales behind the plate. He has struck out 3 times, twice looking.
Well, it's amazing what winning does for a team and how much more fun you have when you win. You can just watch the Marlins right now, the way they throw the ball around, the way they are presenting themselves in the field like they're having a good time.
Being around Mike Redmond's club, Chuck Hernandez's pitching staff, even in the throes of their awful start, 3-11, clubhouse was still a good place. There wasn't a whole lot of panic. There wasn't any dissension. I think one of the reasons that was true is the presence of a Martin Prado, of a Mike Morse, Ichiro, Dan Herron. That one fouled out of play. The veterans that have been in postseason play, that have seen the ups and downs.
And even some of the Marlins players that have been up here a number of years now. Stanton, he's still young, but he's got some big league experience. And as these guys get older and around veterans like that, I think they have a calming factor on a start like that. Just, guys, we're going to be fine. Let's not panic.
Desmond swings and misses.
And that's something the Marlins have not had in a while, is a veteran presence on both sides, both pitching and offense.
Well, certainly the hope for Mike Redmond is that Henderson Alvarez is healthy in a week and a half, 2 weeks, and is back in the rotation, and that everything stays on target with Jose Fernandez in his return sometime mid to late June.
You got to love the Marlins' optimism if they are anywhere close in the division when those two guys come back and are healthy.
Wilson Ramos fouls it off. He counts 1-1. Entertaining game here, and it turned on one play, and that was Giancarlo Stanton avoiding a tag and getting back to third in a rundown that would have been the third out of the 4th inning. And the man at the plate, Wilson Ramos, will probably replay that play a few times tonight. Ramos was chasing Stanton, tried to tag him himself and never got him. Danny Echeverria followed with a 3-run triple. And the Marlins went from down 1-0 to up 3-1. Here's the play.
He stopped, and Ramos said, "Oh, I got him." Puts the ball in his glove to tag him, and Stanton took off.
2-2. Cishek got him. Ball game. Miami sweeps Washington, and the resurgent Marlins have now won 5 in a row and are 3 under 500. They take down the defending National League East champs and win all 3. Big weekend for Stanton. Heroes all over the place. Cededy Echeverria, Ichiro, D. Gordon leading all of baseball in hits. And a terrific lights out bullpen in this one. Sam Dyson, A.J. Ramos, and Steve Cishek in support of Dan Herron. Best of friends and roomies. Giancarlo Stanton and A.J. Ramos had big days. Stanton, this was his triple. And of course, you saw his base running heroics or adventures. That one narrowly a home run. And then A.J. Ramos out of the bullpen. 2 innings, 4 strikeouts. He was dynamite. And you add an inning from Dyson, an inning from Cishek. That's how you build the bridge on a short start from Dan Herron.
Outstanding job by the bullpen. Like we were talking about, when those starters go deep into the game, those bullpen arms are nice and refreshed, and those are the kind of performances that they're capable of, like we saw today.
And so Miami improves to 8-11, and the Nationals are now 7-12. And the Marlins, no longer in the basement in the East, have pulled themselves up with a 5-game win streak. And of course, the New York Mets, who are off to such a great start, are here tomorrow night for a 3-game series at Marlins Park.
Marlins bullpen this series, 8 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, and 10 Ks. That's how you sweep a team.
And so 21,000. Watch this one. The roof opening now, and a Sunday crowd headed home with a suddenly hot Miami team. The Marlins winners today, and doing it in all phases of the game. Let's go down to Craig Minervini. Craig?
All right, I don't think we've done this one before with the A.J. Giancarlo combination. Great ball game, 5 straight wins. First of all, A.J., your thoughts here as you get 2 big innings in this ball game?
Just going out and doing the job. I know we've been on a roll, so just trying to keep the momentum going, try to keep the team in it. And no matter what inning I go in, I know that I got to hold it to no runs and give us a chance to win. So,
what do you think of his 2 innings here, Giancarlo?
He's been in about every game so far. So, hey, if it's working, it's working.
All right, let's take through us the 5th inning. First of all, your triple, you crushed the ball. I don't think you've ever hit that spot on the wall.
I know, and I don't want to hit it again. So we'll keep it at that. I got triple on it, but we'll stay away from that corner.
That's it all. We're going to look at the tape. Take us through it, AJ. What you thought? I don't know if you saw it from the bullpen as Giancarlo just crushed this ball. Span didn't even move.
Yeah, well, me and Shaq were talking about it. He goes, I hope big fella checks in. I said, just like that, and he hit it. And I was ready about to do the fist bump, and then I saw it, and I was like, well, that might go to the right a little bit. And sure enough, it hit the top of the wall. And look at my hat.
That was a heavy dunk. Everybody okay?
Yeah.
That was a very heavy dunk. I thought those were on walk-offs. I got crushed on that one. All right, so let's go back to this. So it shades the wall. Everybody thinks it's out of the ballpark. You start putting the wheels on. That could have been an inside the park home run.
It could have been for sure, and the throw was like in between too. So I could have pushed it, but the game was close. So you gotta stay on third with no outs.
You never know. That is a spot now that you can tuck away if it hits in there. That's inside the park territory.
If he had my speed, he probably could have made it, but it's kind of tough. No. I would have probably hit it out, but that's just another. That's time for another.
Stick to bunting. Stick to the bunt.
Well, the better move, maybe by G, was the juke move that you made. It looked like you were in no man's land. You looked dead to rights. You pulled a little move from your football days, or where'd that one come from?
Yeah, that's from the Madden days playing PlayStation. Trying to juke him out and getting that little extra slide there.
All right, I don't call that juking. He was just crawling. He was crawling at the third base. He reminded me of that Willie Mays. He started swimming. He figured we're the Marlins, so he tried to swim to third base.
You get a little extra boost. You get on the ground and a little extra boost. Whatever works.
Looked like the breaststroke, but the stutter step was a big one right there.
Hey, whoop.
Yeah, no, let's try not to do that again for multiple reasons.
No other move would have worked in that situation. So we don't want to be in that situation, but whatever gets the job done.
Yeah.
But it was that little stutter. All of a sudden, if you look, Ramos puts the ball in his glove. He thinks he's going to tag you. He thinks you're coming at him. And then you were able to kind of swim the third base, I guess.
Hey, swim in the dirt. That's what happens.
Did you have a good look at this one from the bullpen at all?
Yeah, I did. I was saying a lot of things down there, and I saw him crawl to the base, and I was like, well, I don't know what to think about that. As long as he's safe, none of that matters, so whatever.
And, of course, Echeverria makes him pay, and that's the big thing. The Marlins have been doing this. You're picking each other up. You're coming through with big hits. It's amazing how the baseball season goes. You guys were calm all along. Media was going crazy. Fans were going crazy. 5 straight wins. Your thoughts on what has turned around? What do you see from your ball club?
That's baseball. I mean, if our start would have been in the middle of the season, it wouldn't have been as big and as big of a deal as everyone made it. And you got to keep going. I mean, we have 150 more games than our first 10, you know, so you can't let that get us down, and, you know, we're on the roll now.
You guys are great friends. Must be fun to have success together and be in the big leagues together, yes?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, it's always, I mean, any kind of success and just doing it with not only him but the whole team, you know, we're really close, so it's a good feeling to, you know, kind of win with your brothers, you know, so.
We got a shot from your summer trip here, which got a lot of play, and you had a great trip. The costume is very unique.
Yeah, that hat brought out my eyes. Everybody was complimenting him, and and that top picture.
See,
I'm
the only one that looks awkward in the photo. He looks like he's an actual.
Yes, I blend in. Look at my slick hair, though. I mean,
got high heels on in that shot.
Grease ball.
I'm speaking Swag Healy right there. That's swag.
The Cincinnati look there. We made AJ look a little taller. You actually carried off.
That's my actual height. I just slunched. I slouched.
That's the actual height. There we go.
No, he was standing on the stool right there. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Neither is a slouch on the field. It's good to watch you guys. Thanks for both coming on. A great game and a nice run for you guys. And the Marlins have won 5 straight. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, you can catch those two at the Chuckle Hut tonight. And they'll be there for just a one-time engagement. But roommates, best of friends, they spend the off-season traveling all over the place. And they had key roles in this one. Well, just about everybody had a key role in this sweep. From Friday night, Echeverria just continues to tear the cover off the ball. D. Gordon leads the majors in hits. All should make for a rather entertaining Marlins Live. Slam dunk.